Okay, well, good Saturday morning, New York Jets fans and NFL fans. It is October 4th, 2025, 8:48 a.m., and you are watching The Takeoff. My name is Alex, and Thursday night started Week 5 in the NFL with a great game, some questionable play call at the end of overtime by Sean McVay and the Rams, as they lost to the San Francisco 49ers and Robert Saleh's led defense. We all remember Robert Saleh. And went for it on fourth and short, very short, in overtime with about 4 minutes left to continue the overtime or go for the win and not kick the field goal to tie it and extend it, and they were stuffed. Both teams fall to 4. One team goes to 4-1. The other team goes to 3-2. And the 49ers come out victorious with Drake May as their quarterback, and he really played well that day. He played well. He was banged up a lot, but he played well. So tomorrow, Week 5, third home game for the Jets. They are 0-4, so obviously they're 0-2 at home, 0-2 on the road. And I'm thinking about this morning. I always try to plan out the Sunday, the game day setup or whatnot. It's not a big setup, but just, what do I have to pick up? What do I have to put together, what have you. And I'm like, this is the third home game, and it's going to be the third home game where the opposing team's fan base is a very good traveling fan base or has a big following in the state. So Week 1, I would say they said it was a 52-48 split of fans on Week 1, Jets Steelers. Possibly, I don't know if it was that close, but Week 1 we had the Steelers, who have a national fan base, but they travel to follow this team as well. Then Week 2 at home we had the Bills, and they have a big following also. Now, I don't know if it's because it's a trip down from Orchard Park or Buffalo, upstate New York, but they usually travel to MetLife and other stadiums and represent their team well. And then tomorrow we have the Cowboys. Now, Cowboy fans, I don't know if they travel state to state, but I do know that they have large fans or a large amount of fans in each state. So you'll have in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Cowboy fans. Maybe not in Philly, but you'll have. So I don't know if they just travel or the New York, New Jersey, or the tri-state area fans will come to the game tomorrow. So I just thought it was funny that the schedule, and I'm not saying it's conspiracy or collusion or whatever the hell you want to call it, that the schedule put these three high-market teams against the Jets, the first 3 home games, on a year where, ironically, the Jets only have 3 standalone games. Everybody gets a Thursday night. We played Monday night, and then we have London next week. So that just kind of caught my eye. But the big picture is this team is 0-4. And a lot of questions surrounding discipline, the quarterback, lack of weapons on offense, and a defense that honestly has not been able to make a stop all season long. So now I'm gonna talk about the offense first. And I've been saying since day one, we need more than just Garrett Wilson. Okay? Lazard is not going to be a number 2 and take pressure off of Garrett Wilson. Okay? Go out and get somebody. Smith, who we drafted this year, can be a number 2 or number 3 in the future. Hopefully he can move up to that number 2 spot, and you have, that 1-2 weapon at wide receiver. But he's only 4 games into his NFL career. He has made, I think he had some illegal formations and false starts on his resume this year so far. So he's getting his rookie learning curve putting in. Mason Taylor has showed he could make some catches, move the chains, but there is nobody really on offense. Then you look at Breece Hall, and you feel that, all right, the Aaron Glenn's going to do this run game, and open up the passing game. Ground and pound, as Rex used to say. And you have Breece Hall, and you have, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. He fumbled the ball last week going into the end zone. Braylon Allen. And now Allen has a sprained MCL, I believe, and he is out 8 to 12 weeks. So basically, minimum, he comes back week 12 or 13. At the worst case scenario, he comes back week 16, week 17. So he's done for the year, really. So now you have Breece Hall in the backfield, and that's basically your offense. Justin Fields is, in my opinion, I thought was going to be where he is young enough. Yes, this is his third team in 3 years, but even analyst on sports talk radio was saying, you take him out of Chicago, he was a rookie, he was in a bad system. He goes to Pittsburgh. He was doing well in Pittsburgh. I believe he was 4-2 in Pittsburgh before they put in Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson right now is a bench warmer in New York for the Giants. But he's young enough where you can nurture him, you can develop him, and he is yet to really throw a deep pass. He is yet to really beat you with his arm. Yes, on the ground with his legs, RPO, yes. And there are sometimes where he misreads the RPO and he's stuffed, or the running back is stuffed, or he's sacked. So, he is not going to be long-term answer to this team right now, the way he's showing it. Even though this past week on Monday night, I think he was 22 of 27 or something, 240-something yards, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown for over 43 yards. But he's just, with that offense, not enough. So that's the offensive woes, okay? And we have had some nice drives, but they've ended in turnovers. The Braylon Allen going in, and ended in going for 3. And it's frustrating because I said from the beginning, from training camp, offense needs a lot more weapons, and that wasn't addressed. Now, defensive side of the ball. Personally, I thought the defense was just not executing the plays being called, or the play calling was not the right play call for that situation. Yesterday, I'm traveling for work. I'm driving back and have on ESPN radio, and Bart Scott is on there. And I believe it's him and Colin, I believe his partner, on the, I don't know if it's the midday or the mid-morning, whatever they call it. And Colin is a Jets fan, and Bart Scott is telling him why the defense is not working and what the problem is. And it opened a whole new, first of all, frustration on this team, to him and to me. But then I realized what he was saying. So basically, he says, if you look at the players on the field, he said, first of all, there's miscommunication. He said, first of all, it could be the language that they're using now compared to the language that the previous regime. Secondly, he said, it's almost like 11 individuals playing on defense, just doing what they're supposed to do and not reading what needs to be done. And what he meant by that was, and he gave examples of when he played. He said, if you go to man coverage, you know who your man is. He said, but then as the play develops, your man comes off of you. The other defender is supposed to pick up that man. You pick up another player. He goes, no, they're running across trying to stay with their man, banging into each other. He said, there's no communication. Secondly, he's saying that it seems like they don't know the whole scheme. They only, again, know what they're supposed to do. and not how to adjust. And he said he goes back to when he played under Rex. He said, and Rex had a certain defense, and I forgot what he called it. He said, and in goal line, he said, we had certain assignments. He said, and if you go back to it, and he specifically said this game, he said, you go back to the game in 2010, he goes, when New England beat us up and we buried the ball, he said, the Patriots used Wes Welker as a running back. He said, and Revis, his assignment changed to he was covering linebackers. He said, and then that exposed you or us to Welker out of the backfield, catching the ball, running the ball, and then the other wide receivers getting open, because now Revis, not covering the linebackers, Revis, moving up and playing Welker. That was their best receiver, and taking him basically out of the secondary. And he said Rex is, and people will kill me for this, but Rex's philosophy on this was, if our personnel and our play schemes and our defense is not working, if it's too much, we have to scale it back and put a simple defense in, one type of defense, till it works. And he said it may not be successful in the beginning, but it won't be the confusion that's out there. And then Bart went on to say that he was playing, and I don't know if it was the same game, and it was goal line. He said, and him and Revis had, whatever play call, and it was either a bootleg or I don't know if it was a quarterback bootleg or a play action, and Revis played the running back where Bart Scott was playing the running back. He goes, and we banged into each other. He goes, we took each other out of the equation and out of the play, and he looked at Revis, he's like, what are you doing? Your assignment is this is my assignment. This didn't change because of. He said, so looking at this team, he said, first of all, the starters on defense were getting confused. He said, now you have backups playing, which is making it more confusing. He said, so he thinks that, I think his name is Wilkes, the defensive coordinator, needs to scale back the defense, make it simpler, make it where the players know what they're doing and know what they're doing if the situation should change during the play. And Colin said something like, well, isn't Aaron Glenn supposed to pick up on that? And he's like, yes. Head coach should know, defensive coordinator should know. I don't know if we're going to get to a point very soon where Aaron Glenn's going to start making the defensive play calls. And to me, I don't like that. I just feel like head coach should oversee everything but his coordinators in relation to the game plan, should be able to call their own game. I mean, if Glenn turns around to Wilkes or turns around to the offensive coordinator and says, hey, I know you want to go with this, let's try this, I'm all for that. But for the head coach to just put all his attention on one part of the ball, I think is a big mistake. And we saw that with Rex. After Rex had all the success his first 2 years, I can remember him saying that he didn't realize that Sanchez was being benched because he was too busy dealing with the defense. That can't be. Aaron Glenn needs to know exactly what's going on all sides of the ball at all times while managing the game, but his coordinators taking care of those three sides of the ball. Okay? So 0-4 going against a 1-2-1 team. Dallas has shown they can put up some points. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. It's frustrating because we're in the first weekend of October. First of all, it's going to be 80-something degrees to the game tomorrow, which is amazing. I know we have some warm games in early October, but 80-something degrees. And of course, and I do like those uniforms, but 80-something degrees and the Jets are wearing the black stealth uniforms tomorrow in the sun. And it just goes to show you the way. And those dates are pre-picked, but it just goes to show you maybe they should have adjusted to that too. Maybe go all white tomorrow, or at least white tops. But, it is what it is. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. But you have Michael Carter now, who's out. Jermaine Johnson hopefully will be back. He's questionable. And you have Brandon Allen, who's out. And you have, I'm trying to think who else. So you have some key pieces that are missing. Would Jermaine Johnson made a difference these past 2 weeks? I don't know. But it has to start with the personnel on the field. No pre-snap penalties, no post-snap penalties, okay? No, unnecessary roughness calls. No, defensive pass interference calls. And I'm not going to talk about the officiating from last week. The internet was all in an uproar. Monday Night Football casters were talking about it. It was just a bad officiating crew on some of the calls, some of the ticky-tack calls. But that happens, okay? What this team needs to do is go out there and play a near-perfect game, and I don't think they have the talent at this time to play that game. So they have to hold the ball. They need ball control. They cannot turn it over and put points up. Every time you go down the field, if you put up 3, fine. 6 would be better, 7 would be better. But if you score every time you possess the ball, I would say 90% of the time you're going to win the game, because you're taking the ball out of the offense's hands on the other side, and you're giving them minimal chances to try to come back. Now, yes, every 2 field goals that the offense scores means 1 possession for the other offense to come down and put a touchdown on the board and match that, and then take the lead with, or match that plus 1 or 2 with the extra point or the 2-point conversion. So, listen, in a perfect world, scoring in the red zone, scoring touchdowns is where this team needs to be. They are so far away from perfect. They don't even see where perfect is, but they have to make their own chances. They have to give themselves their own opportunities. So when there's a bad snap on the offensive side of the ball for the opposing team on a shotgun, and the ball is bouncing around, and the running back or the lineman and the quarterback's going for the ball, defenders should be there throwing themselves into the ball, throwing themselves into the bodies to knock the ball away. Pick up a turnover. I don't think we have any turnovers this year. Okay? When it's 3rd and whatever, make the stop. We don't have one big stop this year. We and I won't use the Steeler game, but they did give up big chunks on 3rd down to the Steelers. But that last drive, they held them to a 60-yard field goal. And part of it, I think, was, they knew the range. And I think they felt, and this is Mike Tomlin, knew that, maybe they could get after Rodgers. I think they had 3 sacks on him that day or 4 sacks on him that day. If he's sacked, he's out of field goal range. But they held him to a 60-yard field goal, and they lost. They hit it. Bills game, they weren't in. From walking to from the locker room to the end, they were not in. At the Buffalo game. Tampa Bay, pick 6 before the half. Maybe make a stop on one of the 3rd or 4th downs. Maybe get after Baker Mayfield. Monday night, don't turn over the ball. Braylon Allen, I understand he was lunging, he was going for the 1st down, but he still has to, protect the ball. So, yes, it is a play here and there that could mean 2-2, 3-1. I'm not going to say they would be 3-1, but they have to seize opportunities. They have to make their own opportunities. And this team right now is not in a place or doesn't have the mentality to do that. And it starts with the culture, and Aaron Glenn is talking about changing the culture. And everybody calling for Aaron Glenn's head after 4 games, I mean, listen, I know we cannot compare him to other great coaches in the league that started off 0 something, or had like a season where it was 4-12, or a 5-11 season. But to compare him to like Adam Gase, Adam Gase from the get-go, from his initial press conference, just showed that he was not engaged with the team. So it is rough to watch. I think Aaron Glenn is not taking it lightly. I think he is holding himself accountable. I like to think he's holding the players accountable. But here is the difference, okay? And I'm going to use Parcells as a comparison, okay, as far as philosophy. And he is a Parcells guy. He's friends with Parcells. I don't know if Parcells is so far removed from the game and his age that he won't go to him for some type of advice, but even the experience of Parcells should give him some advice. Tell him how to handle it. When Parcells took over the Jets, okay, he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Giants. He was an AFC champion with the New England Patriots, who basically, he brought that team, to respectability with Robert Kraft, and then, of course, the whole Belichick thing, but that's, another story. But I can remember, and, you watch Mic'd Up on NFL Network or ESPN, whoever has it, and they had Parcells from when he was on the Giants, on the Patriots, on the Jets, and even when he went to Dallas, and he brought Dallas back. I think he had a playoff appearance with Dallas. The sideline demeanor and way he ran the game, his practices, they show him at Jet practice his first year, and they have him speaking to, I think it was Dedrick Ward, I think. And he's showing him, how to field the punt. You're an outfielder in the major leagues, you're playing center field, you're looking, you either move up or move back, you set your feet ready to run, you catch it, you go. He's on the sidelines with the Giants, and you hear him going to them, and this is the Giant defense, this is why you lift all them weights, this is why you do all those training, this is why you do all that shit you do for moments like this. Preseason game, and I was at this preseason game, but it was a Giant preseason game. First year he's with the Jets in 97, and he's telling them, this is why you're 1-15, you're making stupid mistakes. And then I think it was Dedrick Ward again, I'm not sure, but it was a punt returner, and he said to him, son, do you want to play the game? Do you want to run the ball, or do you just want to catch it and sit there? If you don't want to run the ball, tell me now, you can just sit here. He goes, and then Sunday you could watch a game from home, when we're in Seattle. So Parcells knew how to get the mindset to his players. Now, Aaron Glenn needs success first to get that mindset. Parcells, like I said, when he was with the Jets, came off of 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 championship wins, and 1 loss when he was with the Patriots. But he had that reputation. When he walked in, he had that aura about him that changes are going to be made. I mean, I said this a couple of weeks ago. He fired the security guard at the gate at Hofstra, day 1. Don't know why, but he did. Okay? He implemented change. He implemented when the Jets went back to the future, in 98 with the retro uniforms. He said they needed change from top to bottom. They need change. And he implemented it. So that way about him, he knew what buttons to push, what things to do. Glenn is still learning that. The first step is they need to get a win. They need to get on the right column of the standings and take it from there. And look at all the good things. Instead of looking at all the bad things and some good things, look at the good things that got you that win and build from there. This season, and I hate to say it, is going to be, I don't like to use the word waste, but it's going to be what I think is a building block. Is it a rebuild or is it a retool? If all things point towards us getting probably a top 5 pick and going with a quarterback in the draft, can we develop this quarterback? Do we throw him out to the wolves right away? Or do we let him sit behind a Tyrod Taylor? It is just so many moving parts on this team, and they need so many moving parts to fill gaps where they should be filled. I don't know why we didn't get a number 2 wide receiver. I don't know what the GM and Aaron Glenn saw. I don't know what their vision for this was. But you still got to take into account that it's only week 4. Now, are they going to go 13-0 the next 13 weeks? No. They're not going to end up 13-4. There's no seeing where they may end up. We need to see progress. And, they say baby steps. Yes, we need progress. We need baby steps. We need a win. A win would be a baby step. It may sound huge to be finally winning, but at 1-4, it's a baby step. You won about 20% of your games. And if you go into math, that means out of the first 10 weeks, you won 2 games. So the first 5 weeks, you won 1 game. They need to make a baby step tomorrow. And a baby step is, it has to end in a win. Defense has to make a stop or 2, and they got to cause a turnover. Those are baby steps that we need to see for tomorrow. So, have a great weekend. Playoff baseball resumes today. Yankees in Toronto, 4 o'clock. Like I said, tomorrow, Jets, Dallas at home. And we see where week 5 takes us, and hopefully we see baby steps. You're watching The Takeoff. We appreciate our followers. We'd love to get more followers. So please, tweet at us at The Jets Takeoff is our Twitter handle. You can email us at thejets.takeoff@gmail.com. And you could follow us, subscribe to us on this video. We're on YouTube. The Takeoff is the account name. At The Jets Takeoff is the channel name. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Have a blessed week, a blessed week. Whichever you say, be safe, be healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.